This story is unlike any other recap we have done. Our main character is none other than a weak snake who happened to unlock his consciousness. He gained intelligence to the point where he's now aware how to defend and keep himself alive against these freaking snake catcher cultivators. This snake is no lame MC. Watch him devour demonic beasts that were 10 times or even 100 times larger than him. Aside from that, we also have a thick plot. I mean, an interesting plot. The title of this manhua is Snake Immortal, the tale of a snake's cultivation to immortality. Please comment SNEK if you loved the video. The story begins at this rural village. Since it was getting dark, the people on the streets were advised to go back home quickly. Their place hasn't been peaceful recently. A man informed the villagers to light the incense and close their doors properly to prevent the old black snake from getting into the house. A rumor about the old black snake is going around. That this snake devoured 2 more people at the mountain god temple a few days ago, and one of those people is a cultivator. The man he's conversing with replied that he's unaware of the snake eating some people, but he had heard that chicken and ducks disappeared in the village recently. A child suggested to his father to bring the chicken inside their house too. He knows it is going to be stinky, but he thinks that it's better than losing the chickens. The father agreed that it's better than losing the chicken to the old black snake. They decided to hurry back home. The father complained that the houses that they passed by felt chilly. Little did they know there's something inside that abandoned house. A snake started to hiss. It knew that the old black snake that they talked about is him, but he denies being old. Nor does this snake think he's scary. He heard the rumor about the 2 people from a few days ago, and he indeed devoured them. A man yelled for help. He was called a human-shaped pill and was told that he must pay for his life, especially after he'd fattened up from the medicinal herbs. The man cried and begged for mercy since he doesn't want to be eaten. He kept praying to the mountain god to help him. Back then, the snake couldn't understand what they were saying, but the guy looked really miserable. So, the snake decided to end his suffering and ate the man. And then another person came in. The old man felt bad seeing his human-shaped pill that way. The snake perceived the old man as pitiful and miserable. The old man pointed to the person being devoured since it's his human-shaped pill that he spent 10 years refining. He demanded for the man to be returned. Because the snake wanted to end the old man's suffering too, he decided to reunite those 2. But the snake didn't expect what would happen next. He suddenly has a breakthrough. Not only did he develop a demon core, but he also awakened intelligence. From then on, he learned a lot of dangerous and scary things that he didn't know previously. One thing that this snake learned is that the black-clothed humans who chased him back then were called snake catchers. They all were cultivators from the snake catcher sect. The snake once witnessed them encircling an enormous reticulated python. He realized that those human cultivators were really strong. The snake learned that cultivators can keep increasing their strength as they have cultivated. They started from chi refinement stage to foundation establishment stage, then core formation stage, even the nascent soul stage. The snake knew that his previous escapes were due to luck. He realized that humans are scary, but cultivators are scarier. It wasn't easy for the snake to awaken his intelligence, and that motivated him to survive. Because of that, the snake realized that hunting raptors and humans have too many risks, and stealing poultry is the safer option. The snake's tummy growled because he's getting hungry again. Not only a couple of chickens and ducks doesn't fill him anymore, they are also getting harder to steal. The snake heard that the Chen clan's village has many rich people who raise pigs. He decided to steal there instead. The snake noticed that humans like to name themselves. He didn't like that the humans kept calling him an old snake when he's not that old. The snake decided for his name to be Snaky. Later that night, at Chen clan's village, Snaky creeped into the pig pen. The pigs were all unaware. Upon seeing the fat pig, Snaky knew that it was enough to fill his stomach. Snaky inspected the surroundings and assumed that the humans who raised the pigs have already gone to bed. Snaky didn't hold back and devoured the pigs. The other pigs woke up and made loud noises while running away. The snake wants them to stop screaming since they might get him killed if they attract people. Snaky targeted another pig and devoured it. He was happy and full. It was only at this time that he realized that he had eaten too much. He decided to sleep since there's still time before humans start their day. That would help him digest before he leaves. 2 hours later, a man screamed that a brat stole his woman. Someone suggested that the man should stop hitting Chen Fan because it looked like the guy had stopped breathing. But the man didn't care since the brat dared to steal Master Chu's woman. They made their way to the pig pen. The snake woke up and saw them coming. For Snakey, humans are scary, so he decided to hide. The man decided to throw the brat into the pig pen. Snakey hid behind the planks on the ceiling, hoping that the humans won't notice him. The man informed his big bro that the brat is no longer breathing. The man replied that it's good that the brat is dead and his corpse would be fodder for the pigs. They left the pig pen while complaining that it's stinky. One man also noticed that the number of pigs had decreased. Snakey peeked. The pigs approached the body. Snakey had heard before that a dead human is bad luck, so he decided to leave quickly. To his surprise, the human opened his bloodshot eyes. Snakey was surprised to see the man came back to life. He wondered if this man was just pretending to be dead. The man started laughing loudly while saying that he, an immortal, had finally possessed someone and reincarnated. Coincidentally, the name of the owner of the body and his name is the same, Chen Fan. The immortal soul that transferred to the body commented that the previous owner of the body is trash. The engagement was called off and his core was destroyed. But this immortal soul who has inherited the body decided to get revenge for the poor man. Snakey wondered who that man was talking to. The immortal soul inspected the body and uttered that it was heavily injured. If it wasn't possessed by him, the body would have died. But the injuries aren't a problem for him. Snakey knew staying any longer would be bad for him. The man turned around and saw Snakey. He realized that it's a spiritual beast. Snakey panicked internally that he's now discovered. He's worried that the man is a high-level cultivator, or worse, a snake catcher. He wondered what he should do. Contrary to what Snakey was worried about, the human didn't mind him since the snake was just a low-level spiritual beast that it's not even worth it. The man sat down with his legs crossed. He focused to circulate his energy to heal and release his spiritual energy to scare the snake away. While doing that, an item appeared. This man didn't expect that the supreme treasure of the demon clan, the divine demon cauldron, would also reincarnate with his divine sense. While speaking to nobody, he uttered that the ancient dragon of the void was mistaken. Snakey thought that this man, a snake catcher, had started to cast spells to kill him. He assumed that it must be because he devoured 2 pigs. Snakey overthinks the scenario since he didn't want to die yet. He wondered if he should just return the pigs, but he's almost finished digesting them. The man continued his spell while Snakey panics further. Snakey felt cornered. And that's why he opened his mouth wide as it approached the man. Snakey kept thinking that he was just forced to do that. The man was surprised that half of his body was already inside the snake's mouth. Snakey gulped him down. Snakey was happy that he had done it, but he can't relax just yet. He crawled as fast as he could since the place wasn't safe anymore. The man was still alive inside the belly. He's annoyed that a lowly first-level spiritual beast ambushed him. He told the snake that he gave him a chance, but instead of running away, he devoured him. The man gathered strength and told the snake that it just invited its doom. The man used his skill, Fury Boundless Ocean, a powerful punch. The snake felt that. The man continued to punch its gut. Snakey was surprised that the man isn't dead yet and that it can cast spells inside his stomach. Snakey felt the pain of being kicked in his gut, but he still willed himself to calm down. Eventually, the man found the snake's demon core. There's a demonic core protective shield. The man thought that the snake was acting cocky because of that, but in reality, for Snakey, it's a lifeline. The man gripped it, causing cracks to form. Snakey coughed up blood. Experiencing this kind of pain, Snakey couldn't help but think how scary snake catchers are. Snakey writhes from the pain. It hurts so much that Snakey wonders if it's the end for him. He couldn't move anymore. Snakey was frustrated since he worked hard to condense his demon core, to the point that he awakened his intelligence. Snakey shed a tear while wallowing with regrets of going in that place to steal the filthy pigs. Meanwhile, the man munched on the insides of the snake. He's delighted to eat a meat snake to nourish himself. To his surprise, the divine demonic cauldron came out. It moved away from him, so he chased it, but he had difficulty retrieving it. Suddenly, the space became so bright. A yellow mist started to form something. When it was done, it revealed a menacing face of a dragon. The man assumed that it was because the divine demonic cauldron absorbed the beast's demon core fragments. He couldn't believe that the demonic cauldron was helping that beast. It dawned on him that the snake isn't just an ordinary spiritual snake. The demonic cauldron made a ding sound, making the dragon roar loudly. The man was enveloped with the beam of light. The light came out of the snake's mouth and eyes. It made Snakey writhe from the pain. The man's skin was being burned. He couldn't accept it since he's an immortal. Eventually, nothing was left of him. The sun then rose and the birds chirped. We could see that Snakey's body was torn apart. But then, one pig started trembling in fear. And that was because something started to crawl again. It was none other than Snakey. He's alive and was shedding tears from the sadness of having his demon core breaking. He laid there in a puddle, and that water reflected the dragon from the demonic cauldron. The next day, we could see that the pigs were biting the tail of the snake. It was like they were having a feast. One pig chomped on the tail. To its surprise, the tail moved, and it threw the pig in the air. Snakey rose while telling the pig to stop biting his tail. Snakey vowed to devour all those pigs later. The pigs ran away as fast as they could. Snakey's tail quivers. It aches, which made Snakey annoyed with the pigs. But Snakey is also confused that he's still alive. He then remembered that his demon core was shattered by the person that it ate. The demon core is the foundation of cultivation for every demonic beast. Snakey wondered how he's going to cultivate without his demon core. Snakey cried as he assumed that he's completely done for. But then it started to realize that he's still alive despite his demon core being shattered. He wondered how it happened. And a thought dawned on him. He remembered the divine demonic cauldron mentioned by that human. He's confused as to why it's sitting there in place of his demon core. He wondered if it replaced the demon core and saved his life. And now, he can see the insides of his body. And it's not just his body. He can see the insides of the pigs, too. His theory is that it's one of the divine sense cultivators. He was pleased that he now has the skill of cultivators. He could even see even when he closed his eyes. With that, hunting for food and evading beasts and humans have become much more convenient. But he noticed that there's more. His brain was bombarded with more information. It's the cultivation technique of the man that he devoured. Snakey felt his head itchy, and it was a sign that his brain is growing. Although he doesn't know what use it has, he's certain that it must be able to heal injury. He decided to imitate the person's technique to channel his energy. He tried to recall the chant of the man, but he settled to channel his demon core naturally. He paid attention to his demon core, and he felt a sensation. It was like the aura of his surroundings were slowly gathering around him. A few moments later, his tail started healing. He was so impressed by how it happened. He just took a few deep breaths, and the spiritual energy is filling the inside of his body. His body felt refreshed. It's like he ate spiritual herbs. The technique's primary usage must be for increasing cultivation, and the ability to heal must be an additional effect. His demon core had shattered. By right, he shouldn't be able to store spiritual energy, so it made him think that the cauldron has become his new demon core. He didn't think much about it, and he set off to find a place to sleep for a few days. He took a mental note that a random young man was that strong, so he shouldn't mess with humans in the future. But before he leaves, Snakey's eyes start to glow as he remembered to target the pigs. He reasoned that if he's going to cultivate, he should fill his stomach first. Later that day, at a river. After swallowing that human-shaped pill and gaining enlightenment, Snakey's brain often experiences new knowledge popping up. And after swallowing Chen Fan, that feeling got stronger. A morning a few days later, Snakey suddenly understood the cultivation system of humans. It turned out that the demonic beast's cultivation was the same as the cultivation methods of humans. It was separated into numerous cultivation realms. They were the spiritual awakening realm, foundation establishment realm, demon core realm, nascent soul realm. This was just like evolving into a higher being. His current cultivation is the only peak of the first level of the spiritual awakening system. It is equal to the peak of the first level of the chi refinement of a human realm. Inside his dream, Snakey saw the demonic beasts that can split heaven and earth, which made him yearn. Snakey also wished to become an existence like that. This was the path he must take if he wished to not get hunted and survive. Therefore, Snakey started to cultivate. The past few days, Snakey has been cultivating that mysterious technique. Snakey found out that his technique not only can heal, but it can also improve physique and cleansing the meridian and purging the marrow. Not only did it help him expel a lot of impurities, but it also caused him to shed a layer of skin. It's been a week. Snaky felt so much different than before. The horn above his head has become longer, and his scales have also become stronger and imposing. However, something really bothered our MC. Snaky became so small. He should have become one size bigger upon shedding his skin. He wondered why his size went down from 33 feet to 6 feet. Right now, he's just the same size as the small bird. And since this irritated him, he smacked the bird with his tail and devoured it. But even though his body became smaller, his speed and strength has increased quite a lot. His flexibility also became better. His skin can stretch more, so he puts more effort. He should be able to eat big-sized prey. Now, Snaky is certain that the cauldron has become his new demon core. He has a feeling once the spiritual energy inside the cauldron is full, he will be able to break through. The consumption for cultivation is too huge. Although that technique can let him absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, merely absorbing spiritual energy is not enough. It is impossible for cultivator demonic beasts to live without food. If Snaky wants to break through, he will need a lot of energy and blood to replenish. It meant a lot of food. Later that night, he saw a boar on the field happily eating a watermelon. It's a big-sized beast and is dangerous. According to the cultivation system, Snaky is now at the peak of the first level of spiritual awareness, and the boar doesn't have an intelligence and its level is below Snaky's, which is why as long as Snaky is prepared, he'll be able to fill his stomach. He held a stone in his mouth as he thought that it would be enough to kill the boar. He creeped behind the boar, but Snaky stopped midway, and that was because he saw that the boar was already looking at him with menacing eyes. All he could do was to sarcastically ask the boar, "Is the watermelon ripe?" But Snaky's alibi did not work as the boar roared loudly. Snaky ran fast as he was scared. The boar chased after him. Then he reached a dead end. He knew he couldn't continue running, so he needed to use his full power, otherwise he's done for. As a way of fighting back, he threw stones at the boar. His plan is to hit the boar first. The impact of the stone hitting the boar made the boar bleed. And it dropped dead. Snaky was dumbfounded. He was so surprised that it only took a few stones for it to die. He couldn't believe that he's that strong. And since he thought that the boar was smart to pose an act, he assumed that the boar was just playing dead, so Snaky threw more stones at it. After some time, he's finally convinced that the boar is completely dead. This dude even thought that he almost got countered by the boar, even though he had really killed it for real earlier. He approached it and thought of preventing the boar from acting dead. He decided to deal with it by pulling its leg. To be really sure, he dismembered its body parts. Snaky finally felt assured and he proceeded to eat it. But something stopped him from chewing along the way. He vomited something because the boar had some hard stuff inside it. Then he saw that there's a demon core. He realized that it wasn't just a normal boar. He felt scared now that he found out that it was a demonic boar. It is said that the demon core contains explosive energy, so he can't swallow it raw. Otherwise, he might explode to death. If he wants to absorb it, he needs to make it into pills, but he doesn't know how to make pills. In the wild, demonic beasts swallow the corpse and demon core together. He thought about it, that if beasts exploded upon swallowing the demon core raw, it would mean that the demonic beasts would have gone extinct long ago. Then he realized that his knowledge in his brain is all focused on humans. The physiques of humans and demonic beasts are different. He should be able to eat it without worry. He opened his mouth really wide and ate the core. He complained that it was hard to swallow. Afterwards, he felt hot in his stomach. It was because the divine demonic cauldron inside his body is absorbing the power of the demon core. The demon core's power is filling the cauldron. He felt a sensation in his body. It was the feeling of breaking through. A few moments later, his body shined. Snaky had reached the second level of spiritual awareness realm. He was so happy. He noticed that 2 scales on his tail became gold. He smashed a rock with his tail. He was so happy at how amazing it felt. The scale was as strong as steel. He crawled on the grass when he noticed something. A human was before him. What's more, it's a young man. Our MC started to panic in the watermelon field. Snaky came across a boy holding a fork farm. He wondered what this boy was trying to do, but judging from this boy's stance, he looked like he's preparing to attack him. Snaky wondered if this person is also a cultivator, or maybe someone like Chen Fan. Snaky sensed danger, so he moved his body to push away the fork from him, and it broke into pieces. Then he crawled as fast as he could to get away, especially when there's a chance that the boy's companion will show up. Snaky was really terrified. The boy was puzzled at first until he realized something. He immediately returned home and reported to his dad that the old black snake devoured the demon pig that killed his mom, but the snake got scared of him, so it ran away. Meanwhile, Snakey made his way into the forest. He was relieved that the boy didn't follow him. He finds it weird at first, until he realizes that it could just be a normal boy. Snakey pouts as he calls himself a coward. He wondered if he's delusional or maybe fearful of young men. And that made him disappointed in himself, especially when he's a demon that is determined to become a primordial beast. He didn't want to continue being that way. Since he already arrived at the mountain god temple, he decided to go inside and pray like the humans did. And since he had obtained his intelligence there, it could be his land of fortune. It was already late at night. Snakey heard before that having inner demons is a major taboo in cultivation. To overcome one's inner demon, one must be sincere. Then Snakey smelled something nice. It was the offerings on the altar, when he set his eyes on her. The woman trembled as she held out a knife. She yelled at the man not to come near her. Master Chu told her to think twice before she acts otherwise. He'll make her life worse than death. The woman threatened the man that even if she can't kill him, she can kill herself, and the man wouldn't get anything. The name Master Chu sounded familiar to Snakey. He remembered the incident in the pig pen. He's the man who threw Chen Fan into the pigsty. Snakey assumed that this man is an expert since he had beaten Chen Fan half to death. That made Snakey careful not to be discovered. Seeing him grab the woman and cover her mouth, Snakey wondered if he's in heat. It made him think that humans are weird since they can go in heat anytime, unlike him, who only goes into heat during spring. The woman is being forcefully undressed. While Snakey watches it, it makes him think about which part of that weak body attracted Master Q. Snakey felt embarrassed. To him, if the woman was left in the mountain, she'd get devoured immediately. Master Kui grabbed the knife while scolding the woman for daring to kill herself and acting arrogantly by threatening him. He told her that he'll take advantage of her before he kills her. Snakey commented that Master Q is muscular, but he's an idiot. The woman was angry at Chu Gang for forcing her to break off her engagement and killing her lover, Chen Fan. And now he's trying to harass her. She vowed that she won't let him be at peace even if she becomes a ghost. Snakey watches them while munching on the snack held by the hand of the statue of the mountain god. He commented that if killing isn't for food, then it's not necessary. He prayed for the mountain god to protect him and make them go away immediately after they are done. But Snakey didn't expect for the hand to detach from the body. It fell and shattered on the ground, which caught the attention of the two humans. Master Q realized that there's someone in there while the woman thought it was the mountain god. Chu Gang asked who was hiding behind the mountain god while the woman ran towards the mountain god, seeking salvation. She thought that the mountain god had manifested. She kneeled in front of it, prayed hard, and she prayed to be saved. The look on Snakey's face when he was found out was hilarious. Immediately, the woman screamed that there's a demon. Chu Gang asked where. He was frozen while holding the knife in front of him. When the woman turned around, she was accidentally stabbed with that knife. It pierced her chest. Chu Gang turned red. He cursed out loud while turning pale. Immediately, his men went inside and asked what happened. They asked if he had finished quickly. He called his men an idiot and told them that there's a demon in the temple. They looked around to see where it went. He was angry that it hid behind the statue and ruined his fun. Chu Gang announced that he's an outer disciple of the snake catcher sect. That made Snakey nervous. Since Snakey isn't showing himself, Chu Gang instructed his men to take a look. They searched for the snake near the statue. Snakey panicked that he's about to be killed. But rather than waiting for his death, he decided to take a risk and came out baring his fangs. The men got terrified of the snake demon, but Chu Gang dismissed it, saying that it's not even 7 feet, so there's nothing to be afraid of. Chu Gang planned to kill it with one attack after he gathers his energy. If he brings it as a gift, he should be able to officially join the snake catcher sect. He told his men to hold the snake, since the snake catcher sect's space-splitting palm needs time to gather energy. He told them that he will reward whoever kills it. Snakey judged that the strongest among the three is Master Chu. With that, he planned to kill everyone before Master Q finishes gathering his energy. Only then he could live. He attacked them. And that's when Snakey realized that those guys are weak. Master Q trembled in fear. Master Q couldn't imagine that they died in the blink of an eye. It made him curious about what kind of monster is in front of him. He ran towards the exit while threatening the snake. On the other hand, Snakey was confused as to why he's running away, instead of gathering his energy. Chu Gang threatened the snake that he would ask his master to make a pill out of that monster. Snakey expected that things won't be simple, so he couldn't just let him run away. Snakey whacked Chu Gang's head with his tail, with the intention of shattering Chu Gang's brain. Then Snakey dragged him inside. He was relieved that Chu decided to run and not gather energy. He feels fortunate to have avoided another danger. It made Snakey reflect that he encountered danger because he ate the mountain god's offering. He asked himself if the mountain god was angry. The worry made him think of replacing the offerings. He settled the corpses on the altar. Once it was properly in place, he prayed to the mountain god not to blame him and that he's offering those people to him. He assumed that because of that, he had pacified the mountain god's anger. And then he interpreted the whole scenario as a message from the mountain god for him to hasten his cultivation. Otherwise, he will have to keep hiding for his entire life. He thanked the mountain god for the message and assured him that he will return to the mountain and cultivate right away. Even when Snakey left, the statue remained the same. 1 week later. Snakey had cultivated for a week, and yet he still required a lot of spiritual fog to fill the second level. Not only do the small beasts he eats every day fail to satisfy his hunger, but they also don't contribute much to his cultivation. He wished for another demonic boar. He set up a trap. It was a basket with a string, but there wasn't any prey yet. He thought that the same principle applies, that one shouldn't wait for something to fall into their lap. But he's getting impatient since it has been days, and he still hasn't found any pigs yet. He complained that it's hard to fill his stomach, let alone cultivate. He drools at the sight of the watermelon in front of him. Since the pigs eat watermelon, and he eats pig, he decided to try directly eating the watermelon. Then he heard someone talking. A boy with his father was walking on the road. They are on their way back from catching a lot of fish since the river's water level has risen. Snakey recognized that it was the boy with the pitchfork. He deduced that they own the watermelon farm. The boy sensed something in the area. Snakey couldn't believe that the boy found him even when they were far from each other. The boy ran, and his father asked where he was going. Snakey panicked since the boy was coming in his direction. He decided to climb a tree and hide. The boy placed the basket full of fish under the tree. It made Snakey curious as to what he's doing. To his surprise, the boy ran away after putting down the stuff. Then the boy called the old black snake to tell him that the fish is for him because he wants to return a favor. Snakey became excited. He couldn't believe that the boy gave him fish to eat. But Snakey was suspicious. He thought that it was poisoned. But the sigh of fresh fish was tempting. He settled to look at them but not eat it. And then he convinced himself that it's okay to try one. He was pleased that it had no taste. So he decided to try another one. And another. He enjoyed how delicious it was. The boy was pleased to see the old black snake enjoying the food. A man stopped the boy in his tracks. The boy asked who this tall man was. The man barely shows any of his skin, even the face, because of the black clothing it has. The man inquired if the boy had seen an old black snake recently. Dangling from the hip of a man is a tag that says, Snake. The boy recognized that it's a person from Snake Catcher sect. He wondered if the man was there to catch the old black snake. The man rudely urged the boy to speak. When the boy didn't, they thought the boy became mute. Eventually, the boy answered that he had never seen any old black snake before. The tall man is called Ding, and the man behind him told him that it's futile to ask the boy since the boy knows nothing. Ding was pissed off. Suddenly, they became distracted by murder of crows on the cliff. They knocked the boy over as they went to take a look. They entertained the possibility that the old black snake was there. Deep inside, the boy wished for the old black snake not to be found out. All of a sudden, they heard news that the old black snake devoured someone at the river. Now they had a lead. So those two men went straight to the river. The boy was confused since he saw the old black snake eating fish from the nearby area just a moment ago. It would be impossible for the old black snake to devour people in the river at the same time. Meanwhile, Snakey was annoyed with the birds because they pecked at him when he accidentally broke a few eggs. He was almost found out by the snake catchers. He was also confused about when he devoured someone at the river. And on top of that, he's curious as to why the boy said that he didn't see him. He commented that the human world is so complex that it's difficult to understand. But the most important thing at the moment is that the snake catchers have their eyes on him. If he wants to survive, he can't stay any longer. He decided to escape to the other side of the river and hide for a few months. Winter is also coming in another 3 months, but he hasn't stored any food yet. It will be hard for him to improve his cultivation during that period. While swimming across the river, he noticed something. It was a gigantic eel-like creature with sharp teeth. He almost got eaten. He didn't expect a demonic beast in the river. It looked just like a snake. It must have come from the upper stream. Snaky realized that it must be the one who devoured a human, and he's the one taking the fall. Snaky and the eel monster were underwater, and that's when Snaky saw that it was injured, and it must be from fighting the snake catchers. He has no idea why it's attacking him when he's just passing by. Snaky realized that it might be on the run when the snake catchers found it, and now it is trying to eat him to replenish itself. Snaky took it as a challenge and decided to treat it as his food for hibernation. But he thought of it, and since it escaped from the snake catchers, it must be quite strong. He swam away while telling himself that hunting it is dangerous and his life is more important. Snaky was in a dire situation since it had made up its mind to catch him. The monster was persistent, and Snaky was almost out of breath. Snaky thought that if he used his full strength at its weaker part, such as the stomach, then he'll be able to escape. He made up his mind to fight it until the end. He chomped it down, but he was disgusted since the meat is slimy and there's a weird taste. Suddenly the meat burned even if it was underwater. Snaky was confused since even the surrounding water caught fire. He thought that it's an illusion from the mucus of the monster eel. Snaky tried to determine if he felt burned. Then Snaky remembered Chen Fan's cultivation technique. When facing an illusion, one must focus their mind first. Snaky concentrated all his energy into a single point of consciousness. Snaky used divine sense and had destroyed the illusion. He was so pleased that he did it. But just right after shattering it, he's faced with the wide mouth of the eel monster. He just closed his eyes since he couldn't avoid it. Surprisingly, his tail hit its mouth, and Snaky's tail became so sharp that it smoothly sliced the eel's body. He was surprised by what just happened. He couldn't believe that his tail split the demonic eel into half. His golden scale is so sharp. If he cultivates until it covers his entire body, he might be invincible. But he knew not to be careless since there was still an element of luck in the battle. Since the demonic eel was heavily injured, it must have mistakenly slammed straight into his golden scale. Snaky decided to hide the mountain and be careful. He was out of breath, and that was because he collected the demonic eel meat. It should be enough for him to cultivate inside the mountain for a few months. In addition to the demon core, it should be enough for him to break through into the third level of the spiritual awareness realm. Our boy Snaky also noticed something. It was a badge that has the word snake at the center. That's when Snaky realized that the demonic eel devoured a snake catcher. He talked to his fellow demon even if it was just meat. He stated that it helped him deal with danger, but he still tried to hunt him, so all he can do is follow the law of nature. But he assured him that he will enjoy him properly and won't let his death be in vain, including his demon core. Snaky devoured it, but he had a hard time swallowing it. He didn't persist, since the snake catcher would arrive anytime soon. He held it in his mouth while dragging the mean by tying it to his tail. Later on, the snake catchers inspected a corpse. They found out why the demonic eel was able to escape so quickly inside the river. They realized that the one who devoured people inside the river was a water demon and not the old black snake. And the one who fought the water demon in that area is the old black snake. They wondered if they should pursue it. The mountain in front of them is the Iron Bear Mountain. There's a massive bear demon with a cultivation base at the third level of the spiritual awareness realm over there. They knew not to underestimate its strength. The mountain is wide and full of forest. They might not be able to find the old black snake even if it takes them months. And there's also a risk that they might encounter the bear demon. The man with Ding inquired how he knew all of those things. Ding explained that a few days ago, the old black snake devoured a pill master from the Astronomical Bureau, as well as the human-shaped pill he nurtured for years. The man inquired further, and then he realized that human-shaped pill's medicine effect must still be in the snake's body. This man knew that his senior brother had been stuck in the third level of the true refinement realm for years, and to encounter such a fortuitous opportunity, he suggested that they take the chance secretly. Ding was pleased with the sharpness of this brat, but still, it's just the two of them right now. It would be too dangerous to go into the mountains. He's concerned that they tried going for wool and coming back shorn. The junior replied that they have nothing to worry about since in a few months, the mountains will be covered in snow. By that time, both the snake demon and bear will go into hibernation. Then they can go into the mountains and gain what they want. Meanwhile, Snakey felt really warm inside the cave. He decided to hide there for a few months. He's oblivious of the danger that could lead him to be an offering for a cultivation. 2 months later, the forest turned white from the snow. Snakey sighed. He didn't expect that breaking through from the second level to the third level of spiritual awareness would be so much harder compared to when he broke through from the first level to the second level of spiritual awareness. He had refined the demon core, blood, and flesh that he obtained back then. He even continued to cultivate for a few more days, but he still hasn't broken through yet. But at least he made minor accomplishments. 3 more pieces of golden scale had appeared on his tail. The spiritual fog inside the cauldron is also full. He is at least at the peak of second level. Now, he just needs an opportunity. Then he'll be able to break through to the third level. It was unfortunate that winter had arrived. Snakey could feel his body getting stiff, and he's only left with a little eel flesh. All he can do now is go into hibernation. He decided to wait until next spring to go out of the mountain and hunt food for cultivation. A man walked through the snowy forest. This man is from the snake catcher sect, and he told the people that those who will help them in their search at the mountain will be rewarded with a string of coins. He told them to stay focused and find it properly. A man replied to Sir Taoist, assuring him that the people of Snake Village are highly skilled in catching snakes. Sir Taoist reiterated to find it quickly. The villager instructed the dogs named Big Huang, Little Huang to hurry and find the snake pit. An old villager complained that the people from the snake catcher sect are arrogant. A fellow villager scolded the old man since those people have real skills unlike them. The old man named Li wanted to make sure that they are also benefiting from the trip. The man agreed. He was delighted to share about his child, Xiao Niu, who loves reading books. Back then, the child cherished a book that someone else had discarded as if it was a treasure. That is why once they received the string coins, the man planned to bring his child to Teacher Chu's place and study. He knew his child would be so happy, and just imagining that makes him really happy as well. The dogs barked loudly. It was a signal that they have found what they are searching for. They reported to Taoist to inspect the hole, since it's most likely the nest of the old black snake. Taoist immediately told them to get away so he could take a look. When Snakey heard that, he cursed. The snake catchers brought someone to come with them into the mountain, and the dogs' noses are good, really good since they found him. Snakey's body was stiff and cold. He's at his most vulnerable state. He couldn't escape, let alone fight. The villager informed Taoist that the old black snake's feces is in the area too. They started bringing up the reward, but Taoist called them an idiot and told them that it was a bear's feces. They asked if the dog really doesn't know how to find the snake. The villager reasoned that it's impossible since his dog has never made any mistakes when looking for snakes. Taoist was triggered that the man is acting like he knows better than him. Taoist pointed to a big hole and instructed the man to bring all the villagers inside that hole and look for the snake. The villager hesitantly agreed. Snakey had finally released the breath that he's holding. He was scared to death. But he was grateful for being smart and cautious. He blocked the entrance with stones and branches, and he placed bear feces on the branches. He even dug a 20-meter deep hole. He anticipated that those men wouldn't be able to differentiate it. Although he might be scaring himself, he knew that he should concentrate his energy and restore his body just in case. A man from the snake catcher sect called Senior Brother Ding and told him that the hold is obviously a snake pit. Ding replied that it certainly is a snake pit. And since they have reached their goal, those villagers have no more use, and the less of them to survive, the less money they would give out. So, it turns out that Ding intentionally made those men search for the bear's hole. Ding replied yes and told the man that he should know what to do next. The man assured Ding that he would lure the demon bear out. They will use the bear to kill the villagers first, then kill the demon bear together. Then they will hunt for the frozen demon snake. Snakey heard that and commented that not even animals do that, killing their own companions. But he reasoned that it is how a human heart is, and human hearts are really scary. He shifted his attention to what's more important to him, which is the fact that those men knew that he's there, and that put him in great danger. Since those men planned to fight the demon bear first, Snakey thought of taking the chance and going out to devour the demon bear, and then he might be able to break through the third level in one go and be able to deal with those snake catchers. Snakey smacked his head for dreaming crazily when he's already in danger. He knew those men would deal with the bear first, thus, they weren't in a rush to kill him. Moreover, there's no way he can devour the demon bear in front of those snake catchers, That would actually seem like he's seeking his death. The senior snake catcher thought of how much of an idiot his junior is. Unfortunately for the junior, the two beasts are only enough for one of them to break through. Otherwise, he would have been able to spare his junior after defeating the demon bear. Snakey heard that, and was surprised to know that they are having an internal conflict. It was a chance to change his situation. Snakey planned to slowly walk towards the hole's entrance, observe calmly, and act when the opportunity arises. The junior member informed Ding that he is done with the arrangement, and in less than 30 minutes, the bear will wake up. A loud scream can be heard from the cave. It was followed by a loud roar by the bear while charging forward. The humans scrambled as they ran away from the bear. They complained since Taoist told them it's a snake pit. Then they saw two Taoists on the top of the cliff. They thought that they were there to help them. But the Taoist called them a bunch of trash and scolded them for causing a lot of trouble and having the nerve to still ask for help. He told them to just die. The villagers were furious, and they finally realized that they were directed to the bear's cave to be killed so the Taoist could save money. The old man shot an arrow towards the Taoist, and that made the Taoist step back, and his pouch was ripped. Snakey saw it, and it was a good shot. His eyes are already peeking from the ground. A pill fell on the snowy ground, and Snakey smelled the human pill. He sneakily grabbed it by his tail. This pill is also called the Chi replenishing pill. It was such a magical pill that Snakey drooled, and his body felt revived just by smelling it. The junior complained to Ding that his storage pouch spilled. He asked for help to pick it up since the bear is coming. Ding scolded him for being careless, but deep inside, Ding had picked it up for himself. The junior praised Ding for a well-thought plan that ended up killing all that trash. They didn't expect those men to survive. Ding reasoned that it was an honor for those men to sacrifice their life for the snake catcher sect. The junior told Ding that he should accompany those people too. He started casting a spell. Ding was taken aback. He was blown away towards the cliff, and he fell down to where the bear was. The bear loomed over him. Ding cursed at the junior named Zhao Wenzhuo for tricking him. Wenzhuo even teased him not to get angry since it will be bad for his body, otherwise he won't have a peaceful death. Then the junior revealed that he had been preparing for that event to happen for a long time. He knew that Ding wanted to pocket the demonic beast all for himself, and he told Ding that he could have it all. Since he didn't want any demon snake or bear, he just wants Ding dead. Then he teased Ding to take the breakthrough material that was in front of him. Ding used a bombing talisman. It exploded on the bear. Wenzhuo told Ding that his story before he died is insane. He was about to leave him since it's about time for him to return to the sect. Especially when the bear is completely enraged, he doesn't want to get involved. Snakey listened to all of that. He took it as his legendary turning point. Snakey swallowed the pill, and he made his way out of the pit. It was time for him to go out. Once out of the pit, he saw that there were still 2 chi replenishing pills at the entrance. He's curious if he'll be able to absorb them properly if he eats them all at once. He decided to hide one behind his teeth and wait for the right moment to swallow it. A pack of wolves appeared. They were drawn by the smell of blood. It was perfect timing for Snakey since he got hungry after eating the chi replenishing pill and he doesn't want to feast on human corpses. So he decided to fill his stomach with them instead. The wolves growled loudly. Ever since Snakey got the divine demonic cauldron, he can now digest food almost instantly. He ate one wolf, but he wanted more. The wolves attacked him, and he fought back to eat them since a single wolf isn't nearly enough to fill his tummy. He noticed how starved he was, and even if he devoured several wolves already, he's still so hungry. He thought that it's because of the great demon bear that it made him unsatisfied with just wolves. A wolf slowly approaches the bear. Instantly, the bear smashed it with its large paw. Snakey didn't expect the demon bear to still be so powerful despite its injuries. And from what he saw in its fight with the snake catchers, the bear is at least at the peak of 3rd level, while Snakey is only at the peak of 2nd level. His stomach is growling and he's salivating, but his logical mind says that he shouldn't lose himself to hunger and risk everything just for a meal. He's so hungry that it made him think that it was caused by the cauldron's desire, like it telling him to eat the demon bear. He justified that the bear's cultivation is higher than his, but the bear was badly injured. He thought to himself that he won't get stronger if he keeps running away. And now it looked like the bear had used all its strength when it blew the wolves away. Snakey knew that as long as he's smart and cautious enough, he still has a good chance of winning. He charged in, taking the opportunity to get stronger. He made the bear's eyes bleed using his tail. The bear growled loudly. Snakey didn't get away unscathed. His body is hurting as he realized that the bear is 10 times stronger than the demon eel, but since he managed to blind it, things should be easier for him now. Just a little more push. He could also feel the pill's effect starting to wear off. His body is getting stiff again. He anticipated to recover after digesting another pill. He had minor injuries too, but he knew it would heal after he killed the bear. He bit the bear on the throat. It crashes on the ground. Despite being blind, the bear is still strong. Snakey complains how its attacks are heavy and painful. He could feel his bones breaking. But he knew not to let go of its throat until he snapped its neck. The bear growled loudly while attempting to remove the snake from its neck. But Snakey was determined not to let go. Snakey was thrown on the ground. The bear lays on its stomach, growling because of the pain. Since Snakey tore its throat open, the bear doesn't have much time to live. Snakey decided to finish it off from a distance. He wrapped his tail on a branch and threw it on the bear's head, causing it to bleed profusely. He expected it to be dead by that time, but just in case it's pretending, he decided to channel his energy to heal himself while he watches, but Snakey heard a noise. The wolves are back. He screamed at the wolves saying that the bear is his and they can't take it. That forced Snakey to eat the last Kai replenishing pill to kill them all. 2 hours later, the wolves are all dead. Snakey emerged victorious against them, but his injuries had increased. He looked worn out. He knew that the QE replenishing pills effect won't last long, and he's still injured. He needed to find a safe place to hide and recover before cultivating. Snakey tore up a cloth just in case the snake catchers came again. He wrapped it in his tail and dragged the meat while he went through the corpses that surrounded him. It made him wonder how many times does it take to reincarnate as a human, and to think that those humans just end up dead like that. Snakey noticed something. It was the corpse of the man and his dogs were beside him. It was the father of the young boy. Snakey asked the dogs why they weren't running away when the man was already dead. If that continues, those dogs would freeze to death. When Snakey checked, the dogs' bodies were already stiff. They have already frozen to death. Seeing how those dogs stayed by their master's side even when the master is dead, somehow it made Snakey's heart feel conflicted. Snakey knew that in their world, only the most cunning and deceitful survive. Snakey was determined to survive no matter what happens next, inside a certain cave. There's a puddle outside the cavern, making it hard to notice, so Snakey assumed that the place would keep him safe. While he can still move, he decided to start cultivating with the demon bear. The bear was delicious. Now Snakey knew that it was no wonder that the divine demonic cauldron was so restless. He felt a familiar sensation, and he had done it. His tail looked nice with the golden spikes. Snakey celebrated his ascension to the 3rd level of spiritual awakening. He finally broke through to the 3rd level. Not only that, he reached the peak of the 3rd level, and his tail has grown 10 golden spikes. Despite having a great risk, he had received a great reward. The fight for him was worth it. He imagined himself next spring as someone who occupies a mountain and becomes the king. 3 months later, winter ended and spring arrived. Snakey woke up from slumber. His length now is 8 feet, and his golden scales increased to 11. In those past few months, not only his length increased, his divine consciousness has expanded as well. He senses 2 boars nearby and decides to hunt it for his meal and exercise. He attacked one boar. He saw that it's a female and she's pregnant. He decided to eat the male instead. In the past few months, Snakey gained some amazing new knowledge. It's called ecological balance. Since he can't go into the village anymore, he needed to figure out how to be self-sufficient by relying on the mountain. It's not enough to occupy the mountain and become king. If he wanted endless prey, he knew not to kill the young ones. Snakey has knowledge that the mountain has 25 roe deers, 20 wild boars, a few hundred rabbits, and water deer. There's a lot more animals. That could total to over 1,000. Snakey is aware that as long as he doesn't overeat and plan his diet properly, filling his stomach wouldn't be an issue. But it wasn't enough for his cultivation. From what he had seen in the previous situations, cultivation needs to be accompanied by opportunities and adventures. Snakey decided that it's time for him to return to his hometown. In a certain forest, there were a lot of black snakes of different ages. It was the Myriad Snake Valley. With the arrival of spring, all things are coming back to life, and the mating season has begun. But Snakey argues that he's a strong-willed snake. A snake wraps its body around Snakey, and it makes him blush. Every time he came back there before, that little white snake would always come looking for him. Unfortunately, he's a cultivator, and she's just a normal snake. Snakey pushes her away. Our boy has the GigaChad anti-horny cell in his body now. If it was him 1 year ago, he would have also shamelessly and brazenly spread his seed around like the other snakes in the area. But ever since he awakened his intelligence, he lost interest in such lowly desires. And the reason why he had come there is to cultivate. He saw what he came there for: the snake fruit. It ripens every 3 years, and that spring it is expected to ripen again. Since it's especially effective for snakes, eating the ripe fruit will strengthen his cultivation. The reason he gained the ability to sense spiritual energy 3 years ago was that he accidentally swallowed a fruit snake. If he swallows 3 fruits this time, he wonders if it will help him break through into the 4th stage. Once he reaches the middle stages of the spiritual awareness realm, he will be able to use spells and won't have to rely solely on my body. Snakey sensed some humans. One spoke towards the so-called sister song to tell her that they are in the myriad snake valley that senior brother Ding and him found, and the snake fruit is just inside. The voice of the one who just spoke was familiar to Snakey. The man dramatically expressed how he was sad about senior brother Ding. Song told him to leave the past in the past. She told him that he had done well as he was able to redeem himself. Snakey realized that it was those snake catcher bastards again. The man uttered that he'll let the senior sister Song have all the snake fruits. Song replied that she won't take advantage of the man and just 2 snake fruits is enough for her. Wenzhuo reminded Song to be careful since it's a valuable treasure. They can expect that a demonic beast would be guarding it. Song replied that there's nothing to worry about since she already borrowed an amazing weapon from her master. She told Wenzhuo that the only demon snake around the area is the old Snake King, and if it dares to show itself, Song made a threat that she will refine its gallbladder into a pill. Snakey got triggered after hearing that those snake catchers are after the snake fruit and they had brought a weapon to deal with him. He contemplated if he should run, but the snake fruit is almost ripe, and running away would only make things easier for those snake catchers. Being at the peak of the 3rd stage of the spiritual awareness realm made Snakey confident. And also, those snake catchers might not be as strong as he thinks, especially when the demon eel and demon bear had killed them before. Suddenly, Snakey sensed an awful smell. He dipped into the water to hide and watch for the time being. He takes into consideration that those humans would also have internal conflicts and end up fighting among themselves. Several snakes ended up dead or running away as those snake catchers made their way around the area. Wenzhuo asked what they would do if the old Snake King wouldn't appear. Song replied that if it doesn't come out, she'll just pluck the fruits, but she's confident that it will show up. The old Snake King has lived for more than a decade. Its life is nearing the end. It needs those fruits to extend its lifespan. In his head, Snakey replied that those snake catchers would be the one whose life is ending. Snakey is triggered by this woman who's spouting bullshit. But Snakey remembered that the villagers also called him Old Black Snake. He doesn't know why. It wasn't the best time to think about that since those snake catchers are about to pluck the fruit. Song told Wenzhuo not to go in yet since the old snake is coming out. Wenzhuo asked where. Snakey got nervous that the woman noticed him. The ground cracked, followed by an explosion. Song told Wenzhuo to watch behind. And just as Song expected, the old black snake came out. It was a large snake. It looked just like our MC. Snakey was dumbfounded. He realized that it was the real old Snake King, and Snakey himself could just be a fake. It could also be that the old Snake King used to stir up trouble and left behind a bad reputation, then it got too old to go out, and Snakey just happened to start going out 3 years ago, and he took the blame. Song used a swamp spell. The old king snake's mouth was wide open, but Song had covered it with mud. Snakey realized that the snake catcher is strong. Even though the old Snake King is old, it is still managing to counter the attacks. Song used a soul-suppressing bell. It was another treasure. She casted for it to shake all directions. Snakey complained about the sound. It was like it's tearing him apart. The old Snake King, too, was restless. Song threw ethereal shadow darts. It hit the old Snake King's head, making it hiss loudly. Song said that it had a sturdy scale. If it's peeled down, she bet that it could be made into precious armor. Wenzhuo praised her and then decided to assist her. Wenzhuo was told to use his Windblade talisman for a wide-scale attack. Wenzhuo agreed, and they planned to wear out the snake that way. Eventually, they noticed that the old black snake wouldn't hold on much longer. Snakey realized that because of the human's treasure, the woman is much stronger than the previous snake catchers that he encountered. The old king snake was in a terrible situation. He contemplated if he would help him or just run away after devouring the fruit, but the snake fruit isn't ripe yet, so it might not work if he eats it now. Eventually, Snakey decided to secretly help the old Snake King, but then Snakey sensed a movement from the snake fruit tree. He asked who's there. It was a villager. He was pleased to have gathered the fruit while the others were fighting. Thanks to the snake catchers distracting the old Snake King, he can claim the fruit all to himself. That angered Snakey. He went straight charging at the man. He was mad that this guy suddenly appeared, digging out the tree and destroying its root. He vowed to rip the man into shreds. Because he was surprised, the man accidentally plucked the tree. Snakey gobbled up the villager while scolding it. Eventually, he realized that he swallowed the tree together with the man. He felt a pain in his stomach as the leaves were getting digested. It was uncomfortable. He felt his stomach getting bloated like it's going to explode. Later on, he vomited it out. Then he noticed that the divine demonic cauldron was full. He had reached the peak of the 3rd level of the spiritual awareness realm. He was relieved that he wasn't poisoned. It was just way too powerful for him to handle. He ate so many of the leaves of the tree. He wondered if the berserk power he experienced just now was because of the leaves. The herb gatherer digested the moment he got devoured, but it took a moment for the divine demonic cauldron to cultivate the leaves' energy. Snaky moved fast. He couldn't let the snake fruit tree fall into the hands of others. He pushed the tree with him. Later on, we see that the old Snake King's body was shredded into pieces. Wenzhuo praised Song for defeating the old Snake King in just 30 minutes. Song was confident that she could do it. Then she replied that Wenzhuo's performance was mediocre. It was time for them to harvest the fruit. But when they reached the tree, it was just an empty lot. They were so confused as to where the tree was. Song asked who had done that. She suspected Wenzhuo. Wenzhuo told her that if she wanted the tree for herself, she could have just said so, and not do something underhanded behind his back. That made her furious. She asked what he's instigating about. Wenzhuo replied that it's exactly what she heard. She told him that he's feeling guilty and was trying to shift the blame on her. Wenzhuo continued saying that she should call her accomplice who stole the tree. Wenzhuo promised that he wouldn't tell the master when they returned to the sect. Song argued that she doesn't have any accomplice. She suggested that someone else must have taken the tree. Wenzhuo doesn't believe her. In Snaky's head, it was a perfect scenario, since they both think the other one stole it. He cheered for them to fight. Wenzhuo took out the teleportation jade token, a green round crystal, and suggested that they call their master to settle the issue. Song challenged him to do it. Suddenly, someone grabbed Wenzhuo's hand and told them to stop. Wenzhuo was surprised to see their eldest brother, Senior. The man told Wenzhuo that the master knew about their movements and sent him secretly to watch over him. He just arrived and saw the two fighting among themselves. He expressed how disappointing it was. Wenzhuo asked eldest brother if he's the culprit. The man replied that it wasn't him and that someone else took it. He commented that it was a clever move to use a mortal to dig up the tree then escape. Otherwise, he would have sensed it through spiritual energy and tracked down immediately. They're left with a single option, to trace the culprit by following their footprints. The man saw that the footprints had vanished there. Wenzhuo asked what they should do now. The man assured him that as long as that person is alive, he'll be able to track him. Wenzhuo had no doubt about it since the man is at the 6th level of the QE replenishment realm. He'll definitely catch the thief. Snaky trembled upon hearing that since he's not a match for that. He thought that the hole dug was deep enough, and all he could do was to temporarily shut off his divine consciousness. He assumed that even someone at the peak of the QE refinement realm won't be able to find him. Snaky smelled something. It was such bad timing. The fruit is ripening. Eldest brother immediately sensed that. He informed them that it's coming from underground. He used earth traversal technique to dive into the earth. Snaky knew that the man was coming. All middle-stage cultivators know how to use spells, and the spell is the earth escape technique of the 5 elements technique. Snaky hurriedly swallowed the fruit before deciding to run. He prayed for the divine cauldron to digest it fast. He wished for the divine cauldron to refine it quickly. The man finally arrives. He commented that the thief is quite the runner, and that the traversal technique of the thief wasn't bad. He wondered what the cultivation level of the thief was. The man ate a pill, and dug on the soil while announcing that he would kill every single of them. He was furious that the thief dared to steal from the snake catchers. The man ran at the speed of lightning. Snaky felt him coming closer. He told the divine demonic cauldron to stop slacking and refine it ASAP, otherwise they're both finished. The mouth of the divine demonic cauldron got wider. Snaky was surprised that he understood what he's saying. Snaky felt the golden energy rapidly spreading throughout his entire body. His venomous fangs are growing, his muscles are expanding, and new golden scales are forming. He could feel a brand new version of him. The man has arrived while Snaky is breaking through the 4th level of spiritual awareness. The man was taken aback that what he had chased for half a day was not a cultivator, but a snake. Snaky looked at him with grumpy eyes. It was funny. The man noticed that the exact snake had just broken through the middle stages of the spiritual awareness realm. It hasn't fought him yet, but it's already taking the tree and fleeing. He had observed that the kind of intelligence even most great demons in the Foundation establishment don't possess it. He knew that the demon couldn't be killed. He decided to catch it alive and bring it back to the sect and investigate. It will be a great achievement for them. Snakey finally broke through to the 4th level of the spiritual awareness realm. The golden scales on his tail had grown, and he felt that he became bigger, stronger, and faster. He knew that he would be able to escape. But to his surprise, the man had caught up to him. Not only does the human know the spell, but he also has treasure. The man used his treasure, the beaming, taming ring. The treasure looked like a rope. Snakey knows that if he gets caught, he's done for. He tried deflecting it using his tail, but he was taken aback that his golden scales can't destroy it. More so, he can't even swat it away. What?
Thank you all for watching. Please watch this next Giga Chad video, and I'll see you guys next time. Also, support the channel by joining the Summon Club membership. You can also support by just liking the video and being awesome.